Welcome to the Brutal Game. As always, I am Blake here with Ferris.
Hola.
And Ron.
What's happening?
On tonight's episode, we're coming at this, what's today? Wednesday, February, what? 12th?
12.
So pour one out. We're about to in a minute because we all just saw the final Merseyside derby not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
Dang. She was spicier than Ferris and Blake arguing over Michael Oliver's terrible Arsenal red cards.
Hashtag last pod.
Wow, that was wild.
And coincidentally enough, Michael Oliver at the helm of the Merseyside derby.
Yes, he was. I noticed there was a high studs up he didn't call, but anyway, we'll talk about that later. But speaking of Slot and Liverpool, they go down dead last in the championship. Plymouth Argyle beat them. These top of the land freaking Liverpool at home park 1-0. That was wild. We'll talk about that, and we'll catch up the rest of the fourth round action of the FA Cup, as well as the fifth round proper draw and how that's panned out. Then we're going to roll to halftime, where we, of course, will talk about, oh my God, this is a good one. As the Valencia of the venison and the spring chicken of Spain, Ron shares all the news that's fit to drink. And yet another edition of Ron's beer news. If we were smart, we'd have written that in Spanish to more allude to where Ron has been. And then in the second half, we'll do what I talked about with Liverpool. But I was too fired off from watching all the wild playback before or the highlights before hopping on this pod. But first, we need to do our beer, and I believe Ferris, that brings you up first.
All right. Well, we are. Shoot! I just realized the name of this beer. I'm sorry, Ron. Let's get out of the way. The beer is Dry January 2. I did not. On the can, it says censored Dry January. We had talk because Ron has to do the editing, and we were trying not to curse. And I literally had no clue. I'm searching it up right now because on the can, it says censored Dry January. And I brought it up when I searched for it. And kid you not, it's the F word and then Dry January too. Oh, literally, man.
To peek behind the curtain right before the pod.
Yep.
I was trying to record. I was having technical issues so that I could edit instead of Ron. And I said, well, let's just try to keep the cursing to a minimum so Ron doesn't have to edit a couple of bleeps in. And that's the beer that you pick.
Yeah, I totally, good Lord. I'm probably going to have two. Maybe I should have gone with the first one first. But anyways, it is censored or F Dry January 2. Obviously, we are out of January, and this is our first pod in February. So I only thought it very fitting. But Blake, this might be a brewery that you have heard of. And I can't remember if you had on the pod. Abomination Brewing?
Oh, yeah. I don't think we've had on the pod, but I've heard of that.
North Haven, Connecticut.
Yep.
Yep. You can head over to abominationbrewing.com. Really slick, cool can art. I don't know. I'll put it in our chat. And Blake, maybe you know the style of like our artistry that they're like can art is in, but hits on a lot of cryptids and skulls and just kind of your horror realm, but in a very fun way. So anyways, this is I'm going strong here. This is a 9.7 alcohol by volume, triple dry hopped India Pale Ale with Mosaic, Citra, Columbus, and Vic's Secret hops. Enjoy all of those on some sites. It shows it as the hop rating is 5 hops. So you're five hop. And it just seemed so fitting to have this on tonight's pod. And if we get time for a second, I'll give you what I have for a second one.
What was this one? What was the name of this type?
It's a triple dry, a censored Dry January. But I couldn't find it on their site, so I had to find it elsewhere, and that's what took me so long to find what the actual name of it is. But what's that kind of artist style that they use on their can art.
I'm looking at it. It's like, it kind of alludes to, I mean, it almost looks like it's digital art, but it looks like that art where you like scratch out, you have like the black material that you scratch out the lines to see, like you do it in reverse almost. But what's really annoying, was it 2 pods ago that I said I'm going to trademark the name Yeti Spaghetti? And that's like the second beer on the website. Dang it.
Oh my gosh. Yes, it is. You're right. I didn't even notice that.
No, because I first went, wait, is that the beer we had? I went, no, that was the name I said sounds amazing. And I need to
that's funny.
trademark it and do like a kid's book called the Yeti Spaghetti. But dang it, there they are.
And that's a 14.2%. Whew.
No joke, dude.
As I'm scrolling through theirs, they're very much like a angry chair in Tampa who hit along the same thing. A lot of like horror on their can arts and cryptids and that sort of thing. And they usually don't do a beer under like 7%. As I'm scrolling through, that's about what these guys do. 9.3%, 9.1%. I mean, it's all high, but again,
if you scroll down, my favorite is astronaut ice cream milkshake. That part's like,
at 9.1% alcohol by volume. But yeah, abominationbrewing.com out of, I believe, North Haven, Connecticut.
And go to the website alone just to scroll through the art for the kids. Cool looking.
Oh yeah. And like, so is their merch too. There's some fun things there of just, man, I kind of want to go to this. This looks like fun.
Hey, it ain't that far from where I'm living now. So, you know, we can meet up there.
There you go.
All right. So is that me next, Ron?
Indeed.
All right. So, tonight, as I texted you guys, I finally found myself a local German joint to hit up. And if you remember on the pod a while ago, I used to go to the one in Tennessee all the time, which was a craft brewery making German style beer. This is a similar situation called Beer Hall Brewing over in Lancaster, PA, about 14 minutes from the house. Oh, the sausages were good. The food was good. And so was the beer. And I got a handy dandy. I got an oil can crowler.
Nice.
With 32 ounces of their golden crispy Helles.
Nice.
Yeah, I am super stoked. I don't know how long this place has been around here. Simple place, but just tons of long tables. Hang out, get your beer. Really nice beer garden on the outside. Obviously, we weren't there tonight because it was covered in snow. But their priorities are ethical action, quality product, inclusive environment, local partnership, and sustainable practice. And they're all about technical brewing proficiency. I don't know if they have an offsite brewery as well. They had all the brewing equipment there. It wasn't huge, but I don't think they can, or I've not seen them anywhere. So I think they're just, I did try them for the first time a couple of weeks ago at a restaurant where I thought I was ordering a beer from Germany and then discovered that it was local. And so went there to go try it tonight. And they did do a crowler, and it is, you guys ever had a can crowler where like, she's ready to be drank because you're like, that top seal is that's not condensation. There's beer starting to push its way.
Get it done then.
Yeah, I'm sitting here with like it's sitting on a pile of paper towels going, oh man, I don't know what's going to happen when I open this thing.
Well, at least you know the top won't fly off.
Well, I had their Pilsner there and it was awesome. So I'm stoked to try this house.
And this is their beer that they do.
Yep, Beer Hall. Yep.
And what was the place called again? Sorry.
BIER Hall, like the German beer. So beer Hall Brew in Lancaster, PA.
Cool.
And I'm probably oh my God, by the way, do I live in somewhere different? Half liter, $5.
Oh yeah, that's way different.
Oh yeah,
full liter of it, $7. I was like, what? This is delightful. Love it.
Okay, I guess that brings me to my beer, the pod. A few friends from Australia were in town about 2 weeks ago, so they are, of course, friends of the pod and brought me some good Australian beer that you can't find here. Not Foster's.
G'day, mate.
It's a brewery called Hawker's Brewing in Melbourne, Australia. I don't think we've had them on the pod before. but they seem like a pretty cool. They seem like a pretty cool brewery. They have their tap room is this old warehouse, and they have all these cool cardboard. People made cardboard replicas of airplanes, and they have them hung from the ceiling, which is kind of cool. Hawkers is a fiercely independent company, and with our unconditional commitment to spreading flavorful beer, we will never stop striving to achieve our goal of converting 100% of the market to drinking better beers.
It's a nice slogan.
I know, right? So it's a good goal.
Mm-hmm.
I am drinking their West Coast IPA. This West Coast style has never been accused of its subtlety. It's audacious, it's unruly, and it definitely doesn't wait around for pleasantries. Unapologetic quantities of American and Kiwi hops deliver a punchy floral aroma with notes of citrus, pine, and resin.
Nice.
That sounds whip ass.
Heck yeah.
The ABV is 7.2. I have it in a can. The hops are Southern Cross, Simcoe, Mosaic, and other. The aroma is fruity and floral, and it's only got water, barley, hops, and yeast, which means it complies with the German purity law. Gentlemen, do you remember what that is?
The Reinskebot.
Yep, Reinheitsgebot. Good job.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I'm looking on their website, and I really want to try their alcoholic ginger beer. Their stuff sounds awesome.
yeah, they have a lot of interesting stuff on their website. This is there's no real can art. The top of the can is kind of a metallic yellow, and the bottom is like a metallic green. But what is cool is that they have these charts on the back of their beer, which tells you like whether it's hop forward or malt forward or, kind of what you can expect out of that beer, which I think that's kind of a cool rating. And then they tell you to serve it at 4 degrees centigrade.
And that we all know is 53 degrees Fahrenheit.
That was my guess.
Ron, you've been living with a Canadian. You know, you can convert fast.
It's
What is
not,
that?
it's not, what did you say? 50?
Degrees Fahrenheit?
No, it's in the lower 40s.
The 40s. That's what the 40s. That's what the 40s. No, that's where I was really going.
No higher than 52s, to be clear.
Yeah. No. It was like, it was the price is right. You just, I don't know. I forgot to say that the can on our mind is the second time you're probably seeing this week, Uncle Sam.
After we had Uncle
Samuel L. Jackson. This is a more version of Uncle Sam that is more bony and more dead, but nonetheless, Uncle Sam.
For those of you keeping track at home, 4 degrees centigrade is 39.2 Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
I just had to do the math.
Everybody knew that at home. Come on, what are you?
But do you know the formula? That's the question. You know the formula to convert it.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
So you know what? I'll just ask good old Siri, and I'm sure she'll tell me.
You just got to cross the milliliters with the centimeters, and then you cut the meter in
Times
half.
it by the var and the tam.
Yep.
And then back convert to
MLS
the GAM.
money is the metric system of science.
And then after all of that, plug it into the formula on how the draw goes for the new Champions League thing. Boom. We're set golden right there.
I love that we'll never not trash that.
Absolutely not.
All right, gents, let's crack these.
All right. If I run away, it's because this beer exploded. I went and got the paper towel roll.
Whew. Smells like hops.
Oh boy, does it. Ooh, a bit piney on this one.
It's a bit piney, that one.
Oh, dear heavens. This thing is nice and thick, too. Look at that, gentlemen. Oh, man. You can't even see through that bad boy. Look at there.
Oh, yeah.
Woo.
Can is so big, it was like hard to pour it to get the proper.
How big was it?
And well, gents, if my German glass doesn't make you want to hit Oktoberfest up, I don't know what does.
Right?
We're still doing it.
Look at that, dude. Look how clear that Helles
awesome.
is.
Heck yeah.
That's how their Pilsner was quite good and very authentically German. So I'm excited to try that. Cheers, gents.
Cheers.
Prost.
Prost. Wow. Good God Almighty. That's friggin' fantastic.
Holy hopness.
Yeah, this one's got a nice bit of hop. Gives you a good shot of the old hops with a floral finish. It's quite tasty.
I tell you, it is absolutely every bit of bleep dry January, because holy mackerel, that thing hits you like a ton of bricks, but smooth. You know exactly you're having a triple IPA, but that dry hopness of it really just mellows out all of the hops, and it is a really a good, just clean, not light, obviously finish, but full bodied. IPA with those fruity and a little bit of the floral notes. They're very, very good.
Well, this is called their Golden Crisp. It's their Helles Lager. And for the longest time, I used to just not ever go for American craft Helles lagers or like the Feist beers or the Pilsner. Do you know what I mean? They were always good, but they never had the crispness that their German originators had if you bought like a Westenhofer or Weissenhofer or whatever, or a Paulaner. But that has really changed. That place I went to in Tennessee was fantastic. And I will say this is quite good. I mean, if you switched out a Helles with like Ayinger or something on it, I don't know that I would have noticed, like this is quite good. Maybe not quite as biscuity as Ayinger comes across, but like super clean, super crisp. What like some beers are supposed to be that are mass produced here in the old USA, but this is
but they're not.
Yeah, no. This is quite good. 32 ounce growler. I thought, is this too much after having some beers tonight and some sausages? But
nay, Fluffy, nay.
I think it'll make it just fine. Oh, and what my favorite thing they had was the currywurst, where
that's so good.
We did the curry sauce over the sausage, over the crispy fries. Oh,
it's like the German poutine.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
That's a good shout. Good shout there, Ron.
Bam. Where does that lead us to? Well, I guess that takes us over to the La Liga's Roundup.
What?
The La Liga's Roundup.
Why are we going to the La Liga's Roundup?
Why does that take us there?
Oh, no. You know why?
Go ahead.
Because I scrolled up too far on the screen, and that's why. That's my bad.
Just everybody, like Blake's been having a rough go of it.
It's been a day for Blake.
Yeah,
you guys were trying to call my phone. I opened my computer. It's doing the Apple color spin wheel of death. I'm like, what is happening right now? It was a very wild, it's a very nice chill day ending at my German brewery. And then it got real weird on the tech world. So never mind that. So we're going to go to is the FA Cup.
Hey.
Yeah.
For a second there, I was like, man, did I label it wrong? Did I do something?
You didn't. I just was.
He was so committed to it. I played the sound effect just because I thought I was wrong.
I was like, why aren't you playing it? And you guys are looking at me weird. I'm like,
Ron just sticking with the bit though. They just, you know what? We're just going right for it.
May as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. You might as well. All right. So now we're going to roll over to the FA Cup. Much believe Ferris, you have sent us some fixture list here. So through February 7th, we had the man up recently. Right? Am I in the right spot?
Sure. Yep.
Sure. Just roll with it, maybe. Just roll with it.
I feel nope.
Just roll with it.
I'm
FA Cup. We want to know about the fourth round proper, damn it.
Oh, the fourth round proper. No, I'm supposed to go with the Premier League table first. That's what I'm supposed to do. That's what's on the notes.
Nope.
What if I failed that entirely?
Where do we start the FA Cup this week?
It's because there's a thing right there with links, and you said look over the links and use the links, and I was all hyped to use the links.
Yeah, but that was the second part. That was the second part of the thing. I literally walked you through the content at the beginning. I do this every pod. I walk you guys through how we're going to do the content. It's also written out in order.
The whole time you were going through the content, I was still trying to see if I could make my recording thing work.
Yeah, I know.
So I only heard a third of what you said. I knew links were important. I tried to use them. So what I meant to say was on to Plymouth Argyle and Liverpool. Of course, that's what I was going to say. There we go. So here, sorry. I texted my wife saying, if you want some of this Hellas, you need to come down. There's not going to be any left in this can. So we move over to Plymouth Argyle against our fantastic Liverpool that's been playing so good and so well. And they didn't, to be fair, start everyone they would start in a big old important game because it's Plymouth Argyle.
Sure.
And they win 1-0. It's an FA Cup match that epitomizes the phrase, the magic of the FA Cup. And this might be the most magical one in a while. I mean, that's a match. If we were playing the FA Cup, it doesn't get much further apart.
It is, and I actually say that in here, but yeah, it wasn't the largest we've seen on it, but it's pretty darn
it is
pretty
close.
Darn bulky there.
So you have the 24th place, last in the second tier of English football, the championship's own Plymouth Argyle. They pull the cup set, I see what you did there, of the fourth round as they beat the top team in English football who have only lost once in league play and are first in the Premier League. Liverpool by a lone penalty and a score of 1-0 to Plymouth at Home Park Stadium. Gentlemen, what do you make of this huge upset between two teams 44 league places apart? All you need to do is just look up when the whistle blows and watch that crowd.
Awesome.
Yeah, this is definitely what the FA Cup, magic is, right? Because the Plymouth Argyle fans are going to talk about this for decades to come, how they knocked first-rate Liverpool out of the fourth round of the FA Cup.
Do you guys know their capacity at Home Park Stadium?
I do not.
16,388.
Oh, dang. Orlando City has more of a capacity than Plymouth Argyle.
That's about 10,000 less than Orlando City Soccer Club.
Yeah.
That's about
dead last in the championship. And gentlemen, do you know who their head coach was or their manager was up until I believe January? Maybe the end of December?
Sam Allardyce.
No, not far off though. Love some Big Sam.
That would be pretty awesome. Who was it?
Wayne Rooney.
Oh, that's right.
Right.
And he got the boot. He got the sack because they were playing like donkey. And
because it would have been pretty rad to see.
Yes, if he, So they hired a guy by the name of Miran Muslich, who English football never heard of. Sharp looking gent, but he's gotten them playing, and they've actually played quite well. And man, oh man, did they play just phenomenally in this one. Defensive acumen just hung in there. They implement this back five. The goalie's last name, Hazard.
Yep.
He was a hazard to Liverpool all game. And yes, it was not entirely, I think 9 changes or something for the Liverpool team. But you still had a front three of Luis Diaz, Diego Jota, and Federico Chiesa. Pretty a front three that should be beating the back line of Plymouth Argyle, who, if you want to know how many goals they've given up in the championship, they have the lowest at a -30. Yeah, not good. But, how they got through this, how they held on. Yes, it was through a penalty, but a rightly called one against Harvey Elliott. So, yes, he played. He's an on-off starter. Yes, Endo played. Kelleher in net and Gomez at the back with Tamakis, Quanish, I don't know if that's how you say his name, and McConnell. But to hold on to playing at their home stadium, which is Home Park, and to beat the top team in the nation who have only lost one game in league play all season. I think only 2 games or 3 games all season and just in general, to get knocked out of the FA Cup. Everything going into this match was, can Liverpool do the quadruple? And this puts that to rest by the hands of Plymouth Argyle.
So, as you alluded, not their normal starting back line, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, now look, Liverpool's the best in the Premier League right now, but they don't stop goals well. And so it's interesting to see the backup guys come in and have an issue. I mean, I know it was a penalty, but still. But, dude, well, their front line, you still got Jota, Luis Diaz. I mean,
that's what I was saying, yeah.
This shouldn't be 3-1. That's ridiculous. Like, that's ridiculous.
And the savior, Darwin Núñez, was even subbed on in the 58th.
Yeah, but I
was being slightly,
that guy can barely find the net. Sometimes he happens to get his compass pointing the right direction and does it, but not very often.
He was the biggest name on the bench because listen to these squad numbers from Liverpool on the bench. 56, a guy named Jaros. 65, a guy named Nalo. 77, a kid named Norris. 17, Jones, and I believe that's Curtis Jones. Yep. So that's probably your biggest other name on the bench. 82, some lad named Young. 73, Nugamaha. 51, Cone Doherty. 52, Mambaya. I don't think Klopp really was like, you know what, we're going to take this as seriously as we can. He was like, we're going to give the young lads a little bit of help on the pitch. There was a squad number named 98. 98.
He meant Slot, but he said Klopp.
Oh, did I? Sorry, Slot. Yes.
Yeah.
He slotted in the youngsters and the biggest squad. If you were to add up the squad numbers on this, that'd be obnoxious. You have a 98, a 78, a 53. Oh man.
62.
But
if you added up the money between the two, that
100%.
Like
100%. But you know what? Good for Argyle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's clear that Slot doesn't really prioritize the FA Cup this year, right? Like you said, most of the people on the bench and in the match were like, sorry, who are you again?
Yeah.
So he's clearly putting his eggs in the Premier League basket.
Yeah.
And
he wants to make sure he's got everyone saved up so he can, the following match, go and beat the crap out of the lowly Everton. Oh, we'll get to that.
Whoops. But yeah,
Paris and Blake united for this pod compared to the last one.
Very much so.
Oh, freaking delightful. Oh my God. It's not that I don't. Man City makes me nuts. Liverpool doesn't make me nuts, but I don't know what Liverpool makes you nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Flipping glorious. I mean, it's just, I mean, watching.
It's the magic of the FA Cup.
I want to say, if you go online, don't find the photos or the videos on Instagram, whatever, that people put from being in the stands and stuff. You know,
wow.
God, it's so good. It's so good. Well done. Well done, Plymouth Argyle.
Good job, Argyle. I don't know what their mascot is. Are they the Eagles? I don't know what they are. Sorry, I should probably have.
Don't worry, Ron is our sleuth on all things.
Yeah.
Did you find it before I move on to the fifth round, Ron?
Just holds for show.
The ships.
FYI, they annihilated Millwall today. 5-1 in the championship.
Oh, I was about to curse. Waldo. We'll get to that here in a second, but yeah.
Plymouth Argyle. You'll never guess what their mascot is.
It's the Badgers.
What's the Owls?
So let's make it.
Is it an animal, vegetable, or mineral?
When people came to the United States, they landed in Plymouth.
The settlers.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they came to North America, right? Which wasn't North America at the time, right?
Right.
Their mascot, ladies and gentlemen, is Pilgrim Pete.
Pilgrim Pete.
Pilgrim Pete. I did not. Wow.
And gentlemen, I really think you should type into your Google search
No, I'm
bars,
not typing that in.
Pilgrim
God only
Pete.
knows what's going to pop up.
Do it. You will. You will
Pete.
thank me.
Pilgrim Pete.
Apparently, all of the pilgrims were Irish.
Holy! He looks like a leprechaun.
What is,
The mustache.
oh, good
that
God.
thing.
That is amazing. Literally looks like a leprechaun. The one that I'm looking at, he's like, the stash is the side of who was the Old West character? Yosemite Sam?
Yosemite Sam.
Yosemite Sam. He has a scarf down to the ground. Like, that is a proper animated character right there. Let's get on in it. Big old pot belly.
Aside from the mustache, you would expect him to be asking about Lucky Charms.
Well, the problem is lifts his head up in the shots, and so the bill of the brim of the hat looks curved. He looks like a cowboy.
He
He
does.
doesn't look like.
That's Pilgrim Pete, though.
I just don't associate.
Pilgrim Pete and Santa.
Wait, did you guys see the old one? I'm gonna throw this in the chat. Here's an old shaggy one from the past. Check that out.
Whatever you're doing, if you're in the car, pull over and
It's-
search this right now. But pull over first. Don't just search for it in the car.
This is from a post called "Crap '90s Football." The one I just said.
This is absolutely
Pilgrim's
brilliant.
Pete. The stash is not like smooth. It's like
No, he's been through a few.
It looks like a 2 foot long orange caterpillar is rolling across his face. This is not at all. This is so weird. Like, I just.
Oh my God. Souvenirs. Pilgrim Pete's an Argyle souvenir. You can get on the argylesuperstore.uk. Oh man, we need a Pilgrim Pete for nothing shy of 20 pounds.
Amazing.
I would like to point out that I
knew in. Oh,
so I love this. A final day, last 4 mascots for inspection on Reddit 9 months ago in the championship channels on Reddit. Someone had started we're going to do who's got the best championship mascot. And in the finals, it was Boiler Man. I don't know. Look that one up. I don't know who that's for. Pottermus. So Boiler, our pod just became something completely different. I don't care. Look up Boiler Man.
Have you guys seen what Boiler Man looks like?
Ferris, you're not gonna. When we say Boiler Man,
what
it's
that's an appliance.
it's West Brom Albion's Boiler mascot.
That's
Ladies and
an
gentlemen,
appliance on him.
And the thing is, we know West Brom. I thought it was just the Eagle, but apparently it is also Boiler Man. Their sponsor. I'm going to assume it has to be. Is it like some kind of sponsor? This is from 2018. Twitter reacts to West Bromwich Albion's Boiler mascot. They did not disappoint. A man dressed as a combi boiler, who fans on social media were quick to name Boiler Man, was introduced to the Hawthorns crowd on Saturday as the Baggies lost 2-1 to Bolton. Oh my God. They signed a sponsorship deal with a boiler firm. Okay. But we're not done yet. On this thread, Boiler Man came in first. Second place, Pilgrim Pete came in. Third place was Rory and Amber. I don't know what Rory and Amber are. And Rory is
tigers.
Yeah.
They're tigers.
I'm going to assume they're just tigers. Okay, just 2 cute tigers. Adorable.
Yeah. One's got a bow, the other one has a tie.
Yeah, it's got like the Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man vibe going.
Yeah.
On. And then where's it at? The last place of the four was Pottermus. Like Potter as in Harry Potter, MUS. Pottermus.
From Stoke. Oh yeah, it's a hippopotamus.
Oh yeah, the hippopotamus. You know what? How does and by a wide margin on the votes on Reddit, ladies and gentlemen, did Boiler Man win this?
That's brilliant.
But Pilgrim Pete came in with a very strong, respectable score as well. But Boiler Man, yeah, that's pretty good. I'm glad I just learned something today that I did not know.
Tune in next week to our new pod that is all mascots all the time.
Oh my God, that's
specifically from England.
That when we get some downtime in the soccer calendar, that's a pretty good one-off. Odd Odd mascots. All right. Whew. That went somewhere I didn't expect, but I'll take it. Good old Plymouth Argyle. Shall we move on to the other matches from the 5th round? That thing I tried to start with first.
After that combo, why not?
All right. So on Friday the 7th of February, we had Man United 2-1 over Leicester. My daughter said, "Tell Ferris I'm not happy with his team."
That's fair.
Millwall,
I'm not happy with him either. After, don't worry.
It's okay. I get it. Millwall beat Leeds 2-0. Is this where you wanted your Millwall comment?
Some just despicable things here from Millwall. Obviously, I'm not a Leeds fan. They're one of my top 3 clubs that I do not like from being rival Manchester United. But some chants about a few Leeds supporters who died several years ago in Turkey in a cup match. There were some chants about that. In fairness, both clubs came out, condemned it. They're trying to find who did those chants. Both clubs came out with statements saying there's no room for that in the game, but just some despicable things here. Yes, Millwall won. They beat a very good Leeds team who is far above them in the league, but just uncalled for in the game. And I'm glad that both clubs came out fast. That's not allowed, and we're going to try to find those that did that.
So from F in Millwall to F Millwall in this situation. Mm-hmm. Manchester City, they beat Leyton Orient 2-1. Coventry City got decimated by Ipswich Town 4-1. Hey, you know what? Been a rough Premier League for Ipswich, so good match.
Real quick, yes, good match for Ipswich. Who cares at Man City when you expect it? But if you haven't seen probably the best goal of the tie, Leyton Orient from about mid-court or midfield, just lashed one over Ortega, and it went down as an own goal, unfortunately. But what a hit! And it put Leyton Orient up at the time 1-0. They went on to lose, but if you have not seen that, go and watch that now.
Beautiful. Everton, they lose to Bournemouth 2-0. Preston North End and the Wycombe Wanderers drew at 0-0. Southampton, Burnley beat Southampton 1-0. Stoke City, it is tied 3-3 against Cardiff, goes to penalty. Oh, wait, but I didn't say who won the penalty.
Cardiff. 4-2 on pens, yeah.
And then it was Preston North End that won the pen against Wycombe Wanderers.
Because remember, there's no more replays in the FA Cup.
I actually forgot about that scrolling through the scores.
Yep.
Wigan Athletic lose to Fulham 1-2. Birmingham City lose to Newcastle 2-3.
This was a weird one because Lillard scored in the first minute of play, and Birmingham should have had a goal. There was a lack of goal line technology in this. Yep. Remember, there's no VAR. There's none of that in the leagues because they can't put VAR. They can't put these things in every stadium across, the various leagues. So smaller stadiums and that sort of thing, they can't put the technology, nor do they have the capacity to actually put the technology in there. But a wild match that Birmingham City put up a hell of a fight, and Lot can argue probably should have won this game in some respects, or
at least had a chance.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Brighton Hove Albion, they defeat Chelsea 2-1. I did not catch that, Ron. Did you see anything in that match?
That match was the cure for insomnia. Chelsea very toothless, and Christopher Nkunku needs to find another team because he's playing like he is some amazing superstar that doesn't have to track back, defend, or run behind. And
ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. The next Arsenal project, Nkunku. That's a little happen.
Right.
Actually, United were heavily linked for a loan move for him. So yeah, there you go.
Friend of the pod, Phil, is probably going to be mad at me for it, but Nkunku is one of the laziest players I've seen in a really long time for the position he's supposed to be in. So yeah, I'm not surprised.
Well, Arsenal try to snag him and see if they can turn him around. That's what'll happen. For $70 million.
Why not?
That's what'll happen. Then over on February 9th through March 1st, we had the Blackburn Rovers losing to Wolverhampton Wanderers 2-0. Again, we talk about Plymouth Argyle 1-0 over Liverpool. Aston Villa 2-1 over Tottenham. And now that my
awesome.
beloved Arsenal are no longer in this cup, I got to say, it'd be pretty rad to see Villa win this.
It would. And this was kind of an interesting, fun match on Sunday. Villa put out a strong, pretty much starting lineup. However, you had no Oli Watkins, the back line, no Mings.
Mings still injured, right?
Paul Torres. But there was a goal in the second minute. That new signing for Tottenham, Kinski, and I'm failing his first name. I'm seeing the score here overall as a 5.6 for him on FOTMob. But in fairness, after that one kind of blunder of a save that he should have had, he was fantastic. And he kept them in it for a majority of the game. And they almost came back to get it, but just a little too much in the end. Sebastian Tell, is it Sebastian Tell? No, is he? He's an artist or something, right? Anyways, Tell, the German loan E came in, or actually, I'm sorry, he started for them, and he's the one that got the goal. Matthias Tell in the 91st plus. But debuts here, 2 debuts for Villa. We have not talked about this pod. Marco Asensio from PSG came in at the same time that a Marcus Rashford on loan to Aston Villa came in. My God, is it weird as, and I don't want to cuss because Ron has to do it, but weird as bleep, bleep, bleep to see him in any other kit besides a Man United or England kit. He had an okay debut. We'll see what he does. I do hope he succeeds. He's only on loan to Villa, but I do hope he succeeds. So Matt, call, enjoy him while you have him, and you might have him for 40 plus in the summer. But I mean, interesting game here.
He didn't look like Eeyore in that match. So I think that's a positive thing.
Sure. He's playing under Emery. What a great manager to be under. And Villa, who do not. That's not a flash in the pan. These guys are going to be, watch out. They're just probably going to get better. So, it's a great club and a great time for him to go to.
And we have a lot of folks on loan throughout the rest of the season because you remember they're still fighting on the Champions League front. Now, they automatically qualified to the next round, so they're not part of the playoffs, but they're retooling to play on multiple fronts now throughout the remainder of the season. So, be interesting to see how Villa, where they end up throughout the end of the season, whether or not they make it far in the FA Cup, Champions League, or the league.
I would love to see them though. FA Cup won by Villa. That'd be pretty rad. And then this brings us to the draw for Saturday, March 1st. Just so we know, quick go through. Bournemouth is going to be playing the Wolves. These matches all kick off at 10 a.m., by the way, our time, Eastern Standard over in the USA. The Aston Villa versus Cardiff City, Crystal Palace versus Millwall, Manchester City versus Plymouth Argyle. Oh my God. Come on.
They got 2 heavyweights back to back. And I believe it's at City too, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, anybody on here would be a match serious, but they got to be cut for real.
Yeah,
it would be
2
so
of the
great.
top teams, and that's awesome. It's good for them. Heck yeah.
If they beat Man
Good
City,
payday, too.
it's season made, right? Whether they
if
lose in the
right,
6th
right
round
now,
or not.
if they beat Man City, we are all buying kits and scarves. And Pistol Pete, or what the hell's his name?
Pilgrim Pete.
Pilgrim Pete. We are buying a Pilgrim Pete for the pod, jerseys and scarves, pack made right now.
So for both all studios, we're going to buy a stuffed pistol.
Yes, yes.
He looks like Pistol Pete. So when you said it, right.
We are all buying a Pilgrim Pete, a scarf, and a kit. Agreed? If they beat Man City in Vance, we have to all agree on that. Might be like 200 pounds to ship the damn thing over here, but who the hell cares? We're all going to get one, right? Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're going to do, one of us has to call the store. So we did to Bournemouth when they first got
100%.
They're like, who are you?
You want me to send it where?
I almost want to get one and then put the number 10 on the back with the last name of Rooney on it, just as a weird, like.
No, mine's getting personalized as Pilgrim Pete.
Heck yeah. I like that. Pete? Just the name of Pete?
Oh my Let's put
brilliant.
Yosemite across the back of it.
Oh, there you go.
Genius.
Oh, God, that'd be glorious. Then also, we're going to have Manchester United versus Fulham, Newcastle United versus Brighton and Hove Albion. I always want to say Brighton Hove and Albion. Brighton and Hove Albion. Nottingham Forest versus Ipswich.
And sorry, real quick, Nottingham advanced like on like Wednesday or something. It was a very late game, but advanced 2-2 over Exeter City, and they advanced, I think, 4-2 on pens. Yeah.
Yes,
so
they did.
Nottingham just squeaked by.
Skipped over that yesterday. That was a Exeter City. Where do they sit at? This was a really big deal for them. I mean, they came out losing, but how they played. Because I mean, again, guys, Nottingham's in third place, and I still feel like sometimes we forget it. But it's when I saw the article about Exeter City going, "We're so proud of them and how well they did to go in and like almost win against the third team in the Premier League." You're like, oh my God, right?
Well, they're 18th in Football League One.
Yeah.
That's 3 tiers down.
Yeah. You got
That's why.
Again, the magic of the FA Cup.
Let's get an Aston Villa Nottingham Forest FA Cup final. There you go. I'll take that.
Yeah, there you go.
No,
Absolutely.
Plymouth Argyle. Because if
God, I
Plymouth
cannot wait for
Argyle
this
won
game.
the
I really
whole
hope.
thing,
And the matches are what? Saturday, March 1st. So come Sunday, March 2nd, boys. Get your cards out. That'll pay for pounds overseas, and order us some kits, some scarves, and a Pilgrim Pete.
oh, I love it.
Preparing for it now.
Oh my God. That made me so happy. That gets us to halftime as we turn things over to the Sultan of the nope, I wanted to say something different.
Go with this. Keep going with it.
Party player of the paella. I was trying to work paella into it because
There you go.
Ron sent me pictures of paella that looked so good.
The Sultan of Spain and the partier of paella. Come on.
There we go. My improv brain was off. We turn things over to Ron for all of the news that's fit to drink and Ron's beer news.
Gentlemen, have you ever heard of the word tariff?
I mean, lately I've heard that in the news maybe once.
You know what? Isn't there a mascot for like Tamir over in England called Tamir Tariff that is this big like paper bill thing? It sounds like that would be something.
Well, tariffs, as you're aware, are being leveled by our current administration onto all kinds of things, and with the complete seemingly misunderstanding of how they actually work. So, that being said, beer is about to get a bunch more expensive.
Oh.
On Monday, tariffs as high as 25% were leveled on all aluminum imports into the U.S., which is likely
Aluminum
to
and
send
steel, yeah.
ripples through a bunch of industries, particularly the beer and canned beverage industries.
Are we about to go shift back to glass bottles for a while?
I'm willing to bet. So
But you got investments in these canning systems, so no, they're just going to jack up the price.
yeah, I mean they have to, right? If you don't have a bottling line, you're not going to end up switching from cans to bottles. The monetary investment would be just crippling. So tariffs this isn't new. The current administration tried this in 2018 when they imposed a 10% tariff on aluminum imports, which raised the price of cans and created a financial burden for many brewers. The new 25% tariff will escalate costs even more, especially as they try to navigate an unpredictable market and the craft beer industry kind of bubble popping, right? So in 2018, the tariffs at 10%, the industry incurred a $1.4 billion additional cost because of those tariffs, the 10% tariff. And I guess the whole idea here is that the administration is saying, or is banking on, that people will, by putting these tariffs on steel and aluminum and other things, that people will seek to create aluminum and steel in the country instead of going out of the country, which has not really ever worked in the history of tariffs. Most of the time, you just get the cost passed on to the consumer, and so you just suck it up. So no one's really making more aluminum now here in the U.S. They're just going to continue buying from overseas and pass it on to us.
It's not a steel one where we actually do have a lot of steel factories and stuff like that, where I think that, to be fair, I'm going to be fair here, that did help when the steel tariff popped in a little bit. But the infrastructure for the aluminum, when you're right, doesn't work. If you don't have the stuff to do it, by the time you got it rolling, everything could be different.
Right.
So do you even invest and get it rolling? Yeah, that's a tough one.
So there's a whole bunch of other, kind of craziness associated with this, but essentially, to have the aluminum lumped in with a steel tariff is, it's not really apples to apples, because U.S. steel imports account for 23% of the country's consumption. But for aluminum, it's 47%, right? So it's not quite the same. So aluminum is getting the raw end of the stick on this. And the other interesting thing is that the U.S. particularly is reliant on imports of primary aluminum from Canada. And so we import more than 2 million tons of aluminum from Canada every year, but this administration is also currently pissing off Canada a lot. So the price is going to go up anyway, and we're going to get tariffed on it. So that should be good. Ultimately, at the end of the day, how you can help, the best way you can help is stop throwing away your aluminum cans.
Yes.
Because we don't have enough aluminum production in the country, right? So instead of throwing away what we do have, we should be recycling it.
Recycling it, yeah.
Right? The recycling rate in 2023 for aluminum cans was 43%, which was down from the previous year. Just about half of all cans in the U.S., regardless of what drink was in them, are thrown away and put into a landfill, as opposed to some sort of proper recycling facility. Now, there's a whole bunch of craziness about, some municipalities in the United States say they have a recycling program, and then it all just ends up in the landfill anyway, right? There's a whole bunch of other stuff.
I do your own research locally there.
Yeah. So recycle it. The total waste in 2023 amounted to over 1 million tons of aluminum, a national value of $1.6 billion US dollars.
Whew.
So if you recycle your cans, it's probably not going to be as bad. So just keep that in mind as you reach for a cold, frosty can in your refrigerator or your grocery store refrigerator case. You're helping yourself out if you recycle your cans as opposed to throw them in the trash.
I like Ron's green initiative. Recycle your cans. Keep beer affordable.
Yeah. And Ron, are you done with your beer news?
Yes.
Because I want to tag on to it before we get to the next half, because I kind of want to add, I want to tag on to that because I'm going to have a beer in the can, my second beer of the pod, but want to bring a bit of a better light on the world of beer and America as a whole, because I found this beer today and I thought it would be a nice way, one, for me to kind of end and have a beer on this pod, but two, to bring light to it because I had not heard of it before, not had it before. So in a can, it is from Veterans United Craft Brewery, and it is called Cup of Joe, an oatmeal espresso stout.
Nice.
Oh, that's cool. That's the
very, very cool.
If you've ever seen the old propaganda, World War II American propaganda poster of like the guy, the GI drinking the coffee cup. I don't know if that's a slightly changed version of, but that looks like the original.
No, it's very similar. They also have a aging blonde that has the the blonde woman there with the polka dot red. Yeah. And doing, so it is a veteran owned and operated. And let me kind of read the can here. A medium bodied oatmeal stout infused with cold brewed coffee during the conditioning stage, made with 8 different types of grain. The malt sweetness is nicely balanced by several hop additions during the boil. Cup of Joe has a rich, complex flavor that ends with a smooth, silky finish. Cup of Joe is made with locally sourced roasted beans from Social Grounds Coffee, a veteran-owned coffee company. If you get a chance, head over to www.vubrew.com, and it is in Jacksonville, Florida. One, I did not know this brewery existed. 2, I did not know it was so near in a way in Jacksonville. But real quick, the founder and brewmaster Ron Gamble, a U.S. Navy vet. They have the spouse and co-founder is of Ron Gamble. They also have a U.S. Air Force vet as their financial controller, a U.S. Navy vet as their liaison with the military and vets. Brewmaster is a U.S. Army vet. Lead brewer is a U.S. Navy vet. Brew sales rep, U.S. Navy vet, and brew sales manager, U.S. Navy veteran. So if you get a chance, I'm certainly, if I'm ever in that area doing a trip up, I am certainly going to make a stop, especially for this, because I have not heard of it. But I'm going to try this. And it is Veterans United Craft Brewery in Jacksonville, Florida. Head over to vubrew.com. And thank you, everybody out there, vets, families of vets, for all of your service that you do.
Hey, Ferris, what are you going to do with that can you just finished?
I'm going to recycle it.
Boom!
I do not have, my complex does not recycle, but I make sure I save them and I take them to areas that do recycle because it is important and it helps. Before this tariffs, after this tariffs, this for the amount of beer, Coke, Sprite, Pepsi, whatever you drink, recycle those cans. Just don't throw them away. It would help do a little something.
Also, I lived in Connecticut. That was my daughter's side job because they pay you back. They do the money, the deposit money or whatever. You get back up, collect all the cans, and that's how she got her Bluey toy money.
The old Bluey toy money, and we still save the tabs of the cans for Ron's. What would it be? Your nephew-in-law, right?
If that's a thing.
And man, I have a stack over here for him. By the way, if he doesn't win, listen, I'm driving up to Canada and we're having a conversation with some folks.
Right.
All right, gentlemen. Cup of Joe.
Cheers. Well, that's a good dark beer. Look at that bad boy.
Cheers to all of the veterans out there in your service. Special shout out to my grandfather who passed away in 2018, joined in 1944, United States Marine Corps, part of Operation Olympic.
That's an excellent shout. Cheers, my friend.
Oh, man. I tell you what, that is like drinking a black alcoholic coffee, but you barely taste the black alcoholic coffeeness of it, if that makes sense. Like, it is smooth.
Oh yeah, because it was like, what was the alcohol content on that?
Oh, sorry, I don't think I said that. 4.7%. It's an oatmeal espresso stout. You get that hint of oatmeal on the aftertaste, but it goes down smooth just because of that like black coffee type taste. Does that make sense? Like you're just plain black, no. Yeah, it is fantastic.
Yeah. That roasted flavor. I know exactly what you were talking about.
Oh yeah, it hits, and I'm gonna end the pod on a Good enough. Because I tell you what, that 9.7 of the other one, woo-wee, not prepared for that one. Glad I'm staying home tonight. Ain't going nowhere.
God. This is brilliant. Oh, I just swore on the pod.
Yeah,
Who did, Ron?
Hey, feel less bad about that.
Sorry.
You know what? And between Ron's beer news, look, come for the Pilgrim Pete and stay for the economics lesson.
Right.
We covered a lot in this episode so far.
You'll never know what you'll get in the beautiful game. Lord knows we don't. Shall we move over to an appropriately said, followed by appropriately timed sound effect?
Yeah, and all Ron's doing in our chat is just sending various mascots from England.
Oh,
wait, God almighty.
Wait. I have to say, yeah. Ron,
What is that a ball sack? What is that?
what? Yes.
That
It's
is
right? Does it look like?
That is Mr. Testicles.
What?
Excuse me?
Or is that, what team is that?
Mr.
serious,
Testicles doing his bit for male
Sure he is.
cancer awareness campaigns at
Okay.
everyone, Goodison Park.
Well done, Mr. Testicles. Very well done.
Ron gave us a bit of it was a late segue. We needed that one earlier. I'm going to send one final mascot one. It's back to Boiler Man, but guys, it's a sexy version. It is Boiler Man leaned against the brick wall, looking so hot and fine.
That's a visual image for y'all at home.
No, oh my God.
Oh yes.
I don't want to deal with doing a video pod, but moments like this make me want to do one. That is friggin' amazing.
A very like I wear my sunglasses at night type of vibe to it.
Yep.
This, as Ron said, just every one of these. Just look up Boiler Man. Look up Pilgrim Pete. Oh God.
We are during the summer. We're gonna do a pod like special on just mascots, random mascots of England.
That's what I've been doing while you were introducing your beer, just writing down this so that we don't forget about it.
Yeah,
and
fair enough.
Holy beans, are there some hilarious mascots?
Speaking of holy beans, over at Goodison Park, we got Mr. Ah, yes.
All right.
Patrick
let's
Thistle.
get into the La Liga's roundup.
There. Oh,
Before testicles and beans, there was the Champions League.
before we'll get to our and Mr. Testicles in a moment.
And you're probably wondering why there are like games being played right now at the beginning of February or the end of January in the Champions League. Is because we're in what is called the knockout phase playoffs.
Yeah, this is new, people.
This is new, correct?
New.
And you essentially have a host of teams playing each other to then figure out who wins in a 2-leg tie. No away goals, so it's just a straight home and away tie. Will go to pens if it's tied, so on and so forth at the end of the second game. And then they get drawn into a pot with the teams that automatically advance. If we tried to explain that to you, we would be here for hours. So we'll just give you how the results have churned out on this past Wednesday. Today's Wednesday, so past Tuesday and Wednesday. These teams that are playing will switch from obviously playing away and home to away and home next week. And they'll also switch playing the days. So if they played on Tuesday, they'll play on Wednesday. In no particular order, PSG beat Brest 3-0. Kind of crappy here because they have two teams playing against each other that are in the same league in France and know each other well. But Ousmane Dembele with 2 goals in this, and he's you're almost wondering if PSG are better without Mbappe because they're doing quite well, and wonder if they can get further in the Champions League. Club Brugge, a surprising win over Atalanta, 2-1. An interesting game there. Scored early, scored late to finalize it in the 94th minute of play. But Club Brugge with the upper hand going into the second tie. Juventus, 2-1 winners over PSV Eindhoven. If you have not seen it, Weston McKennie's strike to open the affair in the 34th minute. What a thunderbolt of a strike. He absolutely lashed it from the top of the box. One of the best things he does is he crashes that box on games. And if you haven't seen his celebrations, I'm particularly a fan of it because he does a little flick and swish of the wand because he is a big Harry Potter fan. But Juventus win 2-1 over PSV Eindhoven. Benfica 1-0 enters over Monaco. A red card in the 57th didn't have a whole lot to do with it, but certainly helped Benfica hang on to their 1-0 win. So we'll see what the second leg has there when it switches, but you would expect Benfica to get that out as it's going to go to Portugal in the second leg. Borussia Dortmund, my Dortmund. I'm wearing a kit right now of Royce. They went to the Champions League finals. They are absolutely trash in the league. Absolutely terrible in the league this year. They are like United level, like 13th or something like that. They're terrible, but they beat Sporting 3-0 in Portugal. Garise goal. Listen to this name, guys. Pascal Gross, formerly of Brighton, got his first goal for Dortmund. And then a Kareem Adeyemi goal to seal the deal in the 82nd, and Dortmund going with a resounding lead into the second leg. And it's going to be at Signal Iduna Park next week they played Tuesday, so it'll be on Wednesday. Bayern Munich won 2-1 against Celtic. Michael Alessi opened the affair. A wonderful goal. Kind of got fortunate on trying to cross the defender as it bounced off of him, but he just absolutely lashed it and had a great goal in the 45th. Celtic made it interesting in the 79th, but that was when they were down 2-0 because Harry Kane scored in the 49th off of a goal. Bayern go back to Germany with a 2-1 win. So a good win there for Borussia Dortmund. Feyenoord, a 1-0 winners over Milan. It's a 3rd-minute goal. And if you haven't seen it, check it out because it's pretty cool. It's one you don't see often. They're setting up for a free kick, kind of left side, about 10, 15 yards out from the corner of the box. Maybe a little bit less. And you think they're going to play it into like the penalty area for somebody to get a head on it. Instead, he goes near post on the keeper, which I believe was Mingione, or who was it? Yep. And absolutely gets it in the 3rd minute. Paxiao, a wonderful goal. It was very, very interesting to watch. If you get a chance, certainly watch the highlights of that. Feyenoord 1-0 winners over AC Milan. And then the main game, the big one. They always seem to collide, usually in like the semifinals or the quarters or something like that. But no, in the playoff round prior to getting into the main knockout round. Anyways, Real Madrid 3-2 winners over Man City. Once again, Man City squander a lead. They were up 1-0. It was tied 1-1. They were up 2-1 in the 80th and then squandered it in the 86th and the 92nd minute. Jude Bellingham in the 92nd minute. And man, it has just been a hectic year for Man City. There's some stat out there where they have lost more games from a winning position this season than the past like 5 seasons combined or something like that. It's something obnoxious. Haaland got 2 goals in this. Mbappe got a goal. Brahim Diaz got a goal. And then obviously that Bellingham goal to kind of seal the deal. But man, Pep is like, if he had any hair, he'd be pulling it out right now.
And it was almost 4. It was almost 4.
Yeah.
With a goal taken back for offsides, which was pretty narrow. But
you know what the gift that keeps on giving the whole year is? Stay humble. God bless him for saying that. It's like everything turned on the dime at that point. And it's
that phrase is going around a lot because was it Anthony Gordon just said it for Newcastle when they knocked Arsenal out of the? It's just since Haaland said that, it's just back and forth between every club now. So that's your Champions League. Again, the next games for the second leg of this playoff round will take place this upcoming week. So I don't know whatever those dates are, but home and away. And then there's another draw after that to get into the knockout phase, which is what we're used to. Again, we'll be here for hours if we try to explain that and who could be potted with who, and they can have 4 different choices. It's weird. You could try to decipher all of that on UEFA.com/GAM, and whatever, Johnny Fatino. All right, to the game that was awesome. The Merseyside Derby. Now, yes, it was a rescheduled match. Yes, it was a midweek match. Yes, it was during a Champions League week. But what a Merseyside derby it was at the very, very last match between these two bitter, just derby rivals at Goodison Park. It ended 2-2 with 3 different score changes, 8 yellow cards, 3 red cards, all of which were after the final whistle.
Like just, Andy flying out.
But not before a 95th minute equalizer. And there was only supposed to be 97 played. So 95th minute equalizer that took forever. But it was an equalizer by the blue home side of Liverpool and Everton, who not only got to celebrate once, but got to celebrate twice because of like what seemed like an hour-long VAR check. But I'm so glad that went the Everton way, because they got to celebrate the goal twice. It wild. And what a just absolute match. Like, I wish this would have been played like primetime Sunday, primetime Saturday, that sort of thing. But it capped a memorable last Merseyside derby under the floodlights of a packed Goodison Park. That, if you don't know, they're going to move into new stadium come next year. They have matches that will still be played at that ground for the remainder of the season. But this was the last of what, and I don't have the official stats on how many like derbies they've played there, but they've won championships there. They were prominent in the 80s. They've won all sorts of things there, and there were probably better games and more decisive goals. But that 95th minute equalizer by James Tarkowski, a center back wearing the captain armband, lashed that just top of the net. What a night. And not being a Everton fan at all, it was good to see that, at least to end their time there at that very old just hero type ground. It was awesome to see.
I'm just rewatching the scenes after the final whistle, and God, is it entertaining.
They go to celebrate in front of...
Decore goes over to celebrate in front of the Liverpool fans.
Yeah, and then gets a yellow for it.
Well, later. But Curtis Jones doesn't like that, which is fair. Goes over and gets into a scuffle, and the team just go over there and collide. What I love about that, amongst all of that, Virgil van Dijk seems like a giant amongst anybody. Like, he could throw anybody to the side. He goes into that thing, and he's like head over everybody, in there, and trying to keep the peace. And then Slot is the third red card in that, because he goes up to Oliver and he does one of those sarcastic shakes the hands, but hangs on to the hand longer than he should while saying something to him. And Oliver finally got his hand free and went, no, card gone. And then Klopp was like, what? I didn't do anything. Slot, sorry. Klopp, Slot. There's a lot of O's and T's. Give me a break. But Slot was like, what? I didn't say anything. I didn't do anything. It is awesome. Just watch the extended highlights, rewatch the match.
They actually they pulled the extended highlights off.
If you go to
no. They pulled them all off, dude, because once Oliver gave out 3 red cards in less than 1 minute, he got a hard on and they had to cut the whole thing out.
Good night, everybody.
That was worth it for Ron's face alone.
Ron was like, no, I'm watching it right here. I didn't.
Hilarious.
Let's review the pod tonight. We've had hard-ons. We've had Pilgrim Pete's. We've had Testicle day. We've talked veterans. We've talked aluminum. Let's see.
There's not much we haven't talked about.
I'm way more proud of myself than I should be.
And on a slightly separate note, I feel vindicated in my grandmother story of
God, yes,
Jell-O
let's bring it full circle. Yeah, baby, bring it in.
Let's go.
of the cock and balls lobster thing, cake pan, Jell-O mold, because friend of the pod Kim wrote us and said, and I quote, "I got a real big kick out of the lobster mold FC pod story." And he says, "So my wife had one of those that she had taken from her parents' place. Her friends used to call it cock lobster."
How did we never come up with that?
Oh my gosh.
I'm my hat off, a tip of the hat to her friends, because that's a brilliant name that I'm really sad I didn't think of.
That is well done.
And he also says that they still have it in the house.
Oh, Kim, shoot us a picture.
Right.
We'll put it on. Like, that is awesome.
Yep. Pictures, or we don't believe it.
That literally was probably my favorite thing in that letter.
Yeah.
That was like,
that is amazing.
Oh, man. God, that just made me so happy just now. Oh, I still kind of want to see. I want to make like a t-shirt that's like, Cock Lobster FC. So bad, like a little kid.
Just wait till your birthdays get here.
Just for that guy. Oh man. Oh God. This episode has made me weirdly happy.
It is not it. When I write the content, I'm like, okay, we're talking about this, a little boring. We're talking about this. It just turns into stuff that I have no clue.
I knew when I read the text, you're like, look, I don't have a lot of time. It's the thing. I'll put some links on there. Sorry, guys. I'm like, it's going to be a good one, because whenever it's like, we don't have a lot to talk about, obviously Liverpool thing. Nope. Something takes care of itself. And it
always does.
Yeah, always does. Absolutely.
Oh my God, man. What a match though. Quite a match. Good way to usher us in to the weekend. If you love footy, then you will love that match as you roll into a very sensual Valentine's Day weekend. That's this Friday, y'all. Don't forget. Just in case. Make sure you bring your Valentine's.
And that has been your La Liga's Roundup.
I just want to say Valentine's Day before it was a whip crack, because I thought it would be more sensual.
Absolutely.
Sensual? Okay. I mean, if you could have channeled your inner Barry White, that probably would have been.
And listen, you can get like Testicle Steve. What was his name?
Mr. Testicles.
And Barbara Boobs together, and they'll have themselves a good time.
It's Testicles. It's the Greek football mascot.
Oh, sorry. I'm just making up names at this point.
So here, my problem is that this day started with, I flew back in from being out for work yesterday morning. I got in at 9:30, but didn't get to my house till noon, because I had to go back to work from Philly to get my car and drive back. The problem was, I worked the night before until like 12 or 1 in the morning, and then we had to get a flight at 3:30. So it was at a conference thing where I knew people from other companies, and we just hung out. All of us were in a simple boat. We literally hung out in the hotel lobby, chatting and BSing until 3:30 in the morning, or 2:30 in the morning. Went to a shower, changed, and went to the airport. So I had like no sleep. So yesterday is like a day that existed. I was here for it, but I don't remember it. And then the day I was like, well, I'll go roll into work, and then like snow. My kid gets delayed 2 hours. So I was like, I'll hang out with you till you got to go. And then she left, and I was like, I'm going to have another cup of coffee. I'm talking to the wife. Then I was like, oh God, I've had too much coffee. I'm really jittery. Oh God, it's already 12:30. Maybe I'll just, I did just work like a crazy amount of days in a row, if you consider that whole thing I had to fly out and do. I'm like, maybe I won't really go in. If someone needs something, they'll call me or whatever. And then like I was like, I'm really jittery. You know what? I'm gonna chill out a second. What if I get a beer? Wait, there's some ginger ale in the fridge. Oh, I got some bourbon that we made at the place I work at. Let me make a mule's ear. And then the next thing I know, because like my wife and I just not hung out with, as Ron said early in the pod, you were talking about like it's hard to get your alone time when you got a little one running around, and we're just chilling in the house alone, and we were yakking till about the time we needed to go walk and pick her up at the bus stop. Gentlemen, I don't want to tell you how many little bottles of ginger ale I went through to make said, as we were just chatting because we hadn't forever, but I found myself in the snow walking to the bus stop going, I hope no children can tell that this dad is definitely tipsy. Yeah. And then, like, got my daughter, got back. I told him, I was like, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good though. It's not like great. I just feel good. Got back to the house. After and I played some video games for a little bit. And then she's like, what are we doing for dinner tonight? I was like, well, we're going to cook here. She goes, oh, we go somewhere? I was like, hey, we haven't found a German place yet. My friend told me about one. And so then we go to a German place and I'm ordering half-liter beers. And I was like, this is like, I'm in my 40s. This is like, I feel like I'm in college. What am I doing? So he responded. So that's all to say that also could have played into the reason that I totally effed up the whole beginning of the pod because I tried to follow what you had said and had been written. It's been a good day, y'all. It's been a good day.
Here. Amen.
Apparently a much needed, I ain't adulting today kind of a day. All right. May you all have one of those days when you need them. Beers of the pod. Speaking of that beer I went over to the Beer Hall Brewing over in Lancaster, PA, and got me their delicious Golden Crisp Helles.
From Abomination Brewing in North Haven, Connecticut, I have a censored dry January, because I'll not say the word, but triple dry hopped IPA, 9.7%, and it whooped me, but darn good. And then I'm finishing off with a lovely stout. It is a smoother Veterans United Craft Brewery out of Jacksonville, Florida. It's called Cup O' Joe, and it is awesome. I'm enjoying this a lot.
From Melbourne, Australia, I'm having a beer from Hawker's Brewing Company. It is their West Coast IPA, and it's tasty.
I love, like, Ron just got back from Spain, but he had some friends from Australia deliver some beer to him.
Yeah, right.
Like, we got some cool stuff from down the street.
Yeah, right.
We're not bougie at all.
Nope.
Ferris, do you have a Zlatan quote?
I do and I don't. It involves Zlatan, but today our friend of the pod, Lee Malaby, over in Darlington, England, sent me a post on Instagram. Top 5 funniest UK football chants. And Zlatan makes an appearance as it goes, his name is Zlatan, his nose is offside. His nose is offside. His nose is offside. His name is Zlatan. His nose is offside. His nose is offside.
I love it. Beautiful.
Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Love it.
Follow us on all the socials from just search us on whatever social you're on. You'll probably find us somewhere. But Untapped's one of our favorites. So you can actually, like, as Ferris and I were chatting about social media today, and I said my advice about it is just get off it. But it's nice when stuff is so specific, like the beer Untapped, where it's just, that's all we're doing. Just discovering beer. So that's a good place to find us. And if you like the pod, tell your granny and your aunt, and make sure you give us a little review. That'd help. Let us know.
And your local mascot. Damn it, tell him or her or she or they, whatever. Tell your local mascot.
If you know Boiler Man, give him a heads up that we were talking about him today.
Yeah.
If I just flip through these pictures, Ron, it kills me.
Or Pilgrim Pete.
Or Pilgrim Pete.
Or West Hammer or Yeoviltown FC. What is that?
Yeoviltown.
What is that?
I don't know. Is it the Incredible Hulk?
Is it the Jolly?
It's hilarious.
It's like the Jolly Green Giant. You're right. So Jolly Green Giant's really short cousin.
And the kid went all out in that picture and painted his face green too.
He totally did.
It's so weird. This pod has made me happy. Gentlemen, as I said, it's Valentine's coming up. So the only thing I've got is a piece of advice. As you go into Valentine's Day is Friday, which don't forget that it's this Friday and think like, oh, I'm just going to get a bite to eat or something, because it's going to be nuts. From Outback to McDonald's, they'll probably all be packed because it's Valentine's Day.
Well said.
You like that? Outback to McDonald's. Does that cover all the food in America? There you go.
I think so.
Just remember this, especially if it's like a Valentine's date with someone new. Love is like a fart. If you have to force it, it's probably crap. Ladies and gentlemen. The burrito for game.